With week 1 in the books, it's time to crack into some more complex systems or learn the current ones even more. On my second week in Warframe, we do just that, as well as jump into some story action. In my typical fashion of affirming the knowledge in my videos, let me give you the summary of this week. I got access to a new Warframe, Rhino, as well as a gifted one, Styanax. I go through my reasoning of why I accepted Styanax, but I am not accepting gifts in my grind through the game so that I can better appreciate the systems and how they work. In using Styanax though, I have uncovered the nuance to the mod system, how these status effects, damage types, Warframe passives, and what have you all play into increasing the strengths or shoring up the weaknesses of any of the aforementioned components. We also made a clan, the Ram Ranch Space Cowboys, where we aim to kick some ass and take some showers. So we'll be learning and expanding on that system as well. Lastly, we did our first big story mission in Heart of Deimos. So that's the entire week's summary condensed down into a too long didn't watch. If that's all you wanted to know, please feel free to shut the video down. I want to be respectful of your time. For those sticking around, you can navigate ahead to any part of the video that interests you the most using the chapters with the timeline in the description. Also, if you want to follow along with this journey, please check out my Twitch or check me out on Twitch, where I stream Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Lastly, if you are heading out, please don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe, as each one of those things helps me out in a huge way. Let's get started on why has Warframe become my new addiction 2 weeks in. First things first this week is claiming some blueprints. Of course, there's a new Warframe. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but come over to the foundry and Rhino's done. We finally did it. It took us a good amount of grinding to get the pieces we needed, but we've got this one. And now I've got Garuda. I've got to work towards that one here. There's another Warframe that I took a look at on the market that I really like the look of. Someone sent me this Warframe, which is super nice of them. So I'm already working on another one. So I don't know if I'm going to be jumping into Rhino just yet. I haven't really decided, but I know that he's got, you know, as it says, he boasts high survivability and crowd control. So we're going to claim that. We're going to go over here. And this is the new one I got, is Styanax, which is modeled after like a Greek hoplite. So, you know, Italian Spartacus, Greek hoplite, whatever, you know, it's cute. So Rhino here is girthy. I'm going to go to tips. Let me get the tip. Can I equip him? Abilities? Yeah, that's what I wanted. That's a cool screen, right? So he's got this one here that allows him to charge. Personally, like in any kind of RPG, action RPG, anything like that, I never really like charge mechanics because it locks me into a direction of movement, so I never really enjoy them. Although, like, you know, I played Diablos and Path of Exiles and stuff like that, where charge builds are really good. So there's that. Iron Skin here, hardens his skin, insulating himself. What someone said to me was like, Rhino's really good if you just want to buff, and then go kill. Like, use your weapons to go kill rather than using your abilities to go kill. And by looking at this stuff, I really see that, right? So Iron Skin is our buff. Grants all nearby allies or nearby Warframes increased damage for a short duration of time with Roar. And our last one here is Rhino Stomp. Stomps the ground with force sufficient to disrupt time, tumbling enemies around him in stasis. That's pretty sick. I didn't see that one. So at least, no, we've got a big movement ability, and then a buff, and then a buff, and then a big old stomp. So it seems pretty cool. I do like the guy that I'm using right now, Syntax, whatever the fuck. But Rhino definitely does look like it'd be really fun if I want to just really focus on weapon gameplay. So we'll be bouncing between this Warframe and the other one that was purchased for me, Styanax here, throughout this whole week. That'll be kind of the big focus. I mean, obviously I've put some time into the actual customization of him, and I like this guy because he's got this cool shield. So let me just show him off too. I mean, might as well, right? Equip this, abilities. So for this guy though, I like the javelin. Launch the javelin, and if it lands on an item, or I'm sorry, not an item, on like a surface, it pulls things into the area, and then they get like a big old burst after. That was super sick. And then you've got this Theros strike, which is cool because it shoots this strike around that then it seems to stagger them, but you can see it says reduce their shields and armor, and Styanax regenerates health for every enemy struck. So it's a really cool way to keep my health topped off. And then if we're looking at shields, this rally point, draw enemy attention to Styanax. His resolve uplifts him and nearby allies, regenerating the squad's energy over time. And his allies also generate shields for every kill assist they contribute. And apparently it's an overshield, so it can go above my cap of shield. As you can see, like, so in the upper right corner, you'll notice this. It'll say like, so 690, 720, Now that's overshield. That number as it changes colors, that's overshield. This seemed really sick to me. And then this, oh, the ult is so cool. I just throw a ton of javelins everywhere. So this kind of seems plays a little bit with what I like, and why I like Styanax and why I've kind of focused on him aside from the actual visual aesthetic of it matching the brand of my channel, is that he seems to play kind of similar to what I like from Volt, which is shock is really, really enjoyable. I love running around and shocking things. Speed is probably, I really only use these two abilities. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm totally probably playing Volt wrong, but I'm not smart enough in the game yet to have that be an issue. Most of the enemies I deal with don't really give me much resistance. I don't die that much unless it's an actual boss. Electric Shield, I know you can pick it up and move around with it, but I've really not needed it for the majority of my gameplay. And Discharge, I just forget to use it because I'm moving from place to place so quickly and killing things that it actually slows me down. So the things that I like about Volt, I feel like I'm going to play more with Styanax versus Rhino, which just seems like, okay, just buff yourself and then go run into combat. Buff yourself and go run into combat. So this is kind of the first foray of me trying to experiment and look at different Warframes and really develop for myself too, at the same time, a play style that works for me, which I think is a really cool thing about this whole process. You know, people on stream would be like, oh, you know what, you got to try out Grendel. I guess Grendel's a really popular one. Or Garuda is the other one that we've yet to unlock. And I'll show you the one I'm looking at, but people have said like, oh, Revenant is really cool, and like Wukong is really cool, and they all look just super sick. I have no idea about all of them. There's so many names I couldn't even tell you what's what just yet, you know? I've heard Oberon is really awesome. I really want to use Colervo or Colervo or whatever it is. I don't know if it's supposed to be in Spanish or not. But someone said, hey, you know, you can't unlock the components for his blueprints yet. So I'm sitting on it, but he looks really cool. So I'm excited to, rather than just jumping into the Warframes I want, I'm excited that I get to kind of spend time on other Warframes, learn more things. And then by the time I get to a location where I can actually get the items for the blueprint, it'll then make sense to go into the war of some of the other Warframes. So I like that it is set in this progression route versus just like, think of like an Overwatch. An Overwatch, you choose a hero and you just play that hero ad nauseum. And then once you're like, okay, I'm pretty damn good at Brigitte, I'm now gonna swap over to Hanzo. And then you kind of are there's two you're good at. Well, it's like, well, no, the gameplay style of all of them is roughly the same because the elements are the same. It's the abilities and their innate bonuses that kind of change the play style, which I think is very fun. You leverage into certain things. So your general skills as a Warframer, oh, I know it's a Tenno, as a Warframer are applicable to all Warframes. Warframes just give you certain spice in different directions. That's how I've learned to understand it. And please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong there, but that's also been one of my favorite things about exploring new Warframes and how they play and how they interact with different mechanics. With the conversation of our Warframe and blueprints and deciding that whole situation out of the way, let's talk about mods. Now, we went over this last week and nothing's changed as far as my knowledge of mods has gone. But I've now kind of learned a little bit more of the layers of this whole situation. So what I want to take a look at is this right here. I'm on Styanax.
Orders is sorry. Happy to report that all my good jokes are gone.
Thank you, Ordis. I appreciate that one. Moving on. Styanax here has Styanax critical chance increases with his shields and doubles for spear guns. Some people in stream have told me like, hey, you know, this isn't really that big of a thing, but I think it is a big thing for me to understand and to learn. Maybe it's not super quote unquote viable or whatever. I don't really give a shit. What I do give a shit about is learning that these things exist and learning how to layer into them. So if I look at something like that, we can type in shield. So shield recharge rate. What fast deflection is going to give us. Redirection is going to be shield capacity. I already have redirection though up here. So this is going to increase my shield capacity by 55%. And this says Styanax's critical chance increases with his shields and doubles for spear guns. We wouldn't be able to see this unless we are in the actual game world from what I understand. But if I pull this off, my shield right now says 1430. If I pull that off, it drops down to 925, right? So this invariably then increases our crit chance. I tried to see if I could then see it on the weapons I'm using, and I cannot. So that's a little bit about mods that I really learned this week, was trying to go for the benefits, the implicits, the things that are already there with your Warframe, with your weapon, and trying to stack into them. For example, too, some Warframes have higher health than shields, or vice versa, or higher armor, or higher energy, whatever it is, and trying to stack those benefits or shore up the deficit, right? I know for Styanax that my Theros Strike is going to regenerate health for me. So that's how I'm going to get health. And I know that Rally Point helps me out with shield and gives me over shield. So I can play more with redirection, thus increasing my critical chance. And then I can play with that by coming back over here to my bolter and playing around with this. So sure, I could then look at, let's type in critical. Well, okay, so I don't have any critical ones on, right? Point strike, is that? I can take the critical chance from point strike and have it bend, or I guess stack with the critical chance increase from my shields. So I can try to really lean into this, try to really pull more out of it. And furthermore, if I'm talking exclusively away from my abilities on my Warframe, taking a look at my bolter and going, okay, I'm not just throwing mods into this. I'm going to look at, okay, my reload time after having used my bolter is pretty low. My magazine, I wish it was higher. So I can use stuff like ammo drum, which is going to increase my max ammo, but magazine warp, which increases my magazine capacity. Or one of these is a fire rate for speed trigger. One of these is the, well, maybe not. I get them confused with, I've got so many on another weapon type. But still, trying to increase that reload or decrease that reload is going to be pretty huge here. So trying to look at the things that are on my weapons, are on my Warframe, and benefit them, rather than just simply going, okay, let me just blindly plug in whatever mods I've got. Because now I'm at the point, as you can see, where I have a shit ton of mods, and I've got way more mods than I do slots on respective weapons. My capacities are starting to kind of bottom out. So this gives me a sense of what to stack, what to look for, what to focus on. Also, too, I've learned that when I look at the star map, I can try to focus those mods to
bottom.
Thank you, Ortis. I appreciate that. If I go ahead and take a look at my star map real quick, this all comes around together. I'll just click anywhere. This right here. Okay. This says suggested damage infested. Is the creature type I'm killing, and Corpus is the creature type I'm killing. So this shows me that the suggested damage here is I want to do some sort of heat damage and some sort of slashing for infested, and I want to do some sort of piercing and some sort of is it magnetic? There's a specific, it's two elements put together for the Corpus. So those little context clues allow me to then flex around with my mods before I jump into either a set series of missions by going to a specific portion on the map, or by doing a set location, like Earth or something like that. So maybe here we've got these two, which is going to give us corrosive, right? I don't think I have. Let me go back to my sword. I've got tons and tons and tons on my sword. So let's go ahead, and I think it's this. No. Oh, oops, won't impact. Aha, magnetic. There we go. So that also says 1.5 damage to Corpus. So learning these little things and learning, okay, this blast. Oh, maybe I have got to do this. Yeah, blast is up again now. Blast will say 1.5 damage to infested demos. So some of these too will say that they do half damage to certain things. So learning these context clues, learning what the deficits are in my weapons, learning the deficits in my Warframes, or the strengths in all those things, and leaning into them and trying to use mods to the benefit of them. That's been some of the biggest stuff from this week that I've learned, and it's made this. Whoa, what is this? I'll have to look at that. I don't know what that is. Don't tell me what it is. But tell me what it is. What the fuck is this? Harness Mandible. Killing an enemy with a heavy attack reduces enemy accuracy against Warframe by 10% and grants... Ooh. Well, that's spicy. Play around with that one now, too. But either way, my point is, learning all these things has made the mod system less of just, okay, plug some stuff in and go play. It's, okay, now that you're a little bit further into this, how can you take what you've got to make you better at what you've got to deal with? And if you're struggling with what you're dealing with, maybe you could probably swap some mods around. Maybe you could increase stuff on your actions here, upgrading stuff to give you a little bit more mod capacity, stuff like that. So this has been one of a bigger breakthrough moment when it comes to mods. So one big thing I've wanted to take a look at in this game is the clan system. And the clan system is very intricate. You can build a dojo out and you can construct all these labs and things, and labs then produce blueprints. I can't even get into how complex the clan system is because I actually don't really know it a whole ton. You can press this button and it kind of gives you some bit of a rundown here going through certain things, but clans are dense, they're complex, and they're a huge time and resource sink, from what people have told me while I'm streaming. And there's two schools of thought, it seems. And again, this is me kind of parsing the information without any kind of real solid information diving, right? Like I haven't looked this up because that's the way I'm trying to play, very blind. It seems that you either join a clan and but you can buy the blueprints you need from the clan's blueprint bank, because they can produce those blueprints. You just simply buy them using whatever resources that you have to. Again, I don't know what those resources are. The other school of thought is you can build a clan from scratch, and that takes a long time. It's not easy, and it requires a lot of grinding. Now, if you're jumping into the game for the first time like myself, you can come over here and you can come over to, you can zoom all the way out. You'll see Dojo. If I click Dojo, I can look at any one of these featured clans to get a sense of how elaborate this system is. And it's huge. These dojos are massive. These are player built out dojos that allow you to, let's just click on one of them to, this seems fun, that allow you to really expand and build something out for yourself. So let's take a look here, just to kind of give you a quick taste of what this is. And I understand too that by me making my own clan, which that's going to be like the subtext of this, right? So look at this. What the hell? What the hell is this? I don't even know who this guy is. He probably doesn't know who I am. But this is a player-made clan dojo, and these aren't just like, okay, someone made a clan and they slapped this dojo together after a couple hours of playing. These have taken years to build out, either through resource gathering, through actual placement, whatever the system is. There's been a lot of investment to this. So you can see that these are pretty elaborate, and there's different layers to it. There's a lot of different biomes locked into this. So these people have made these really cool, awesome dojos that they've showcased so that you can get, oh my God, the lens flare on that. Oh, Jesus, J.J. Abrams would love that thing. But this is an idea of just kind of how complex this system is. So in what is widely regarded as a bad move, I am going to make my own clan. And through that, anyone who's watching this video, anyone who's been watching my streams, all this stuff is more than welcome to join the clan, and we can all grind it up together. It's not a good idea probably, but whatever. I've never really made particularly good ones. So I'm going to form a clan, and I'll think of the name of the clan. I'll poll the audience because I'm actually live streaming right now, and we'll kind of get something settled, and then you can join the clan through this system. And this was the result. The Ram Ranch Space Cowboys. Now, I now understand that you can't really just join this. I have to expand the capacity before people join. If you do want to join, you can go ahead and join the Discord, and we'll have a way that you can join through there. You can find a link in the description as well as the pinned comment. It's also kind of one of the best ways to get an idea of all my updates for the channel whenever I'm going live or anything like that. So if you want, you can join that, and you can jump into here. And if you want, I've started an alliance as well. Nope. Have I? Nope. It's not the button. There's an alliance as well somewhere. Is it somewhere? I don't know. I don't know how to all this. Aha! Brothers till the end. So we can just have other clans join this, so we can have just a bunch of fun in here. So the Ram Ranch Space Cowboys already has 8 members, and we need 2 more members, and then we're at capacity. So there's 2 things I've learned here about clans. One, you've got your ascension, and then you've got clan capacity. Ascension, I guess, dictates which blueprints your clan has access to, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And then your capacity then increases the cost of said blueprints. So a ton of people joined in to the clan, and they were super awesome. And I've said, you know, don't gift me. I really don't want to jump ahead in the game. I want to enjoy the grind. This clan stuff, though, I'm okay with it, with a little bit of fudging on this. So, apologies, I got bad allergies all the time. You can see we already have an oracle built over here. We've built this cool ass room. I don't even remember the name of it. And then we've got this location, which I've been told specifically never to touch it, because you can kind of cheat and go ahead and grab a pretty good Warframe from it. So I won't be going in there. And we go over here, and we go over here. And we pretty much have all the labs built, and the labs are what allow us to activate and access all of these. The next section we're going to talk about is going to be about that, so don't worry. And then, you know, I've got a really cool like Hall of Honor over here, which I didn't know I had to, that was like the hardest thing to place. Then we've got a sick ass observatory, which you can launch missions from. I can access my arsenal. So a lot of really cool things are done with these clan dojos. And this is, you know, scratching the surface. On stream when we started this, I was like, well, let me just kind of see how this works. I don't want to get too lost in the paint. And I got lost in the paint, because pretty much what this comes down to is you build all of these locations, like these labs, which allow you to access all of those individual blueprints, and then connectors, and then barracks, and then energy, because you have to have energy for all of it. So let's just, I'm going to click one of these. Here's a mosaic art. And so you can see, right, that this creates a whole portion on the map and requires resources that people can pull together to then make them. And it'll take a certain amount of time, or you can have like dueling rooms or barracks, this big, huge, awesome audience chamber, a bunch of stuff. Like I have a second story to this, the whole thing too, that has a bunch of my generators in. You can have a dry dock for when you want to dry dock someone. And I don't know what I just said out loud, but it sounded like it was probably the thing I wanted to say. So I'm sticking with it. I've already jumped on this grenade. Dry dock, there it is. And clearly I can't fit it in right now. That could be taken a lot of different ways. So a lot of cool stuff that you can play around with the clan dojo. And again, I've just barely scratched the surface. Next week, we're going to work on Ascension and getting the clan up and running and getting into it. I wonder if you can change that. Go ahead and leave me a comment and let me know if I can change. Is this it? Is this just like, oh, this is an elevator? I thought it was like, oh yeah, with this button, that's pretty narcissistic. But yeah, it could just be me, right? Can I just make that be me? Does it have to be? That's Rhino, right? Or maybe that's Excalibur. I don't really know. I'm not really good with the Warframes just yet, but it's someone. But either way, the system is really cool. And apparently there's a big portion of the system that is linked to this market right here, which I've yet to get into, and hopefully we will in the coming week or two. So another big portion of clans is this research system. Now, every single one of these labs has a research system. It starts up here and it ends down here, I think. I'm not 100% positive. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. And they research in progression. So this one is required to research this one. This one is required to research this one, as you can see right here. It does that. It also levels up the clan. This affinity is a clan experience that then allows you to ascend the clan to push the overall rank of the clan, which I have not yet discovered what that means. I will discover it in due time as I play around with the system. And this is, I guess, why people tell you should join a already formed and established clan, because then you get access to all of these blueprints. Because what you do is you would start research on one of these. I'm just going to press this button. Do I have all these things? I don't know. Are you sure you want to begin this project? No. Okay. 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 Cool. So I press research, right? And then you contribute to these things just like you would any building things in the game, which is something I forgot to mention in the previous section. Everyone can contribute to stuff as much as they want. So I can press this button, and in our vault, we have 5,000 cubic diodes. We've got 13 million credits. Some people were nice enough to donate these things. So I'll press this button and I'll press this button. and I'll press this button, and you can see that it's going to fill those bars up. And if I close out of that, it didn't actually lock it all in. So I'll press this and just press contribute. Press this and just press contribute. So this now says, little check mark there, it's been contributed. Once everything's been contributed to, 72 hours later, this will kick over to this, and it'll say, hey, do you want to research this? And it'll say, copy blueprint of this. So that is why people do these clans, or I'm sorry, that is why people suggest joining clans, because then you'll be able to just get the Banshee blueprint, and then the systems, and then the neuroptics, and then the chassis, without having to go ahead and technically farm them. You'll need to farm all of these individual pieces, of course, but this allows you to just basically go through here and copy them. And the copy process takes time in and of itself, and then you have to build it, which takes time in and of itself again. So it's a way to get access to a bunch of blueprints that are kind of contributed to on a team effort. It's a really cool system. I have yet to actually put much into it. In fact, an hour before I shot this portion, I really sat down and looked at it. So if you're brand new to the game, and because this is what I was worried about, I didn't want to kind of get jumped to the front of the line because I went through the system and copied all these blueprints. These are gated by your mastery rank. So let's say I had all of the prerequisites to get every single thing in this list. Well, I most certainly do not have mastery rank 5. Oh, I do have mastery rank 2. I could get those. So these say 5. This one up here says mastery rank 10. I don't think there's a requirement for the actual Warframe. So this is 5. This is 3. So if you don't have mastery rank that is corresponding to the item, then you cannot use it. So it doesn't matter if you join a clan, because I was worried about joining a clan and getting overwhelmed with all these blueprints that I have just got no idea when I can use them, how I can use them, where I farm all this stuff for. And this allowed me, I feel like, to play or to figure the system out from the ground level. But now you've watched this portion of the video, maybe you're brand new to the game too, and now you understand that you don't need to be as scared of this as I was, because I'm like, oh man, I don't want to just get flooded with too much information. But it's a really cool system that allows you to contribute as a clan towards the things that you really want to unlock. Now, one thing I've really focused on this last week is Nightwave. Now, what is Nightwave? Nightwave is essentially Battle Pass. But it's a little bit different than our typical Battle Pass expectations whenever we're playing a lot of these games. Every single game nowadays has some variation of a battle pass. The battle pass here is free. Not free in the sense that there's a free version and a premium version and it's a bunch of bullshit attached to it. No, it's just straight up free. And every single week you'll have these daily and weekly acts that you can do that will refresh. You can see weekly refreshes in 5 hours and 8 minutes. And then it has a big line of things. You'll get cosmetics for your ship. You'll get cosmetics for, I don't even know what that is because I'm not far enough into the game. You'll get mods, you'll get all sorts of things that you just simply need to play. You'll get cool stuff for your back. You'll an Epitaph Raya skin. And this is really sick. This is an encouraging system because this isn't part of some sort of shtick to keep you locked in by constantly doing the same things over and over. Now, I don't really know. You can see here that if I hover over this, this just says a daily, right? That little symbol corresponds to it. It's a sun and that's a little thingamabob, so it shows me, cool, that's a daily. But then you've got these little shields, that is a weekly. And then there's harder weeklies that I can see from these more advanced looking shields right here. So an elite weekly, kill 100 eczemas or get eczema, whatever it's trying to tell me right there. So I do these things and I am going to progress through this track to then get, the cool skin at the end, right? That's always the battle pass situation. You'll always get a skin at the end. That's a Fortnite thing, that's a Call of Duty thing, and it's definitely prevalent here in Warframe. What's nice is it just kind of gives me little things to do during the day. So for example, here I already did this one for do 150 bullet jumps, or I did this one for kill 150 enemies with a primary weapon. And now I can work towards stuff like this one, kill the eczemas, or this one, unlock relics, or this one over here, complete missions. Gives you the typical kind of objectives you would have in a week. But again, I like this system that it is not predatory in a sense, right? This isn't having me buy my way through a certain point. And I feel like a lot of battle passes cash in on that FOMO, or fear of missing out, wherein, hey, you're coming down to the last day or two, why don't you just use your money to buy all the reward tiers that you didn't have so far? So I like that the system's not like that, and it is just seems to be pretty straightforward. I don't know what this button does. Maybe I can. Oh, you get like credits and you can buy stuff. That was all. I forgot about that. So you also, as you progress through this, you'll get like these like Nightwave credits that you then spend. I've got 150 of them, and I can spend them on stuff in here. So it's not a system I fully quite understand yet, because as I've been introduced to these systems, as I said before in the previous video, you know, or in this video even, I am not going through and looking up stuff. I'm just kind of forcing myself to learn it or go through it on my own. And from what I understand, these offerings swap every set amount of time. So for example, I'm using Styanax. I can go ahead and buy this helm here rather than using like platinum to do it, or whatever other currency, what have you. Or you can use mods on here, or you can pick up different skin blueprints, or I think you can actually pick up straight up weapons. I think I saw that on here before when I looked at this once upon a time. Somewhere on here. Yeah, but either way, you get a sense for what this does. It gives you more than just simply, hey, here's what it offers you through the reward track. You also then have the credits that you've earned from doing battle passes, and that you can just go ahead and tap into. So I like these things. What someone said too, because I'm live streaming while I do this, someone said after the last tier of the battle pass, you start getting Nightwave credits. So then you can use that towards these as well. But it's a really cool system that I think everyone's going to be leveraging. Well, I know everyone leverages, but if you're brand new, it's something that you can get into to get a lot of cool stuff. So a big theme for this week, though, was trying to knock out some stuff on the star chart. It wasn't necessarily trying to do a big story here and there, and we did get to one. That's the next section here. But it was trying to open up some of these junctions, knock out some of these star charts, and have things start to connect on the individual planets. I noticed that I was having the issue of not being able to forward the rank in my syndicate because I wasn't on a certain planet and grinding its resource. So by doing some of this, it allowed me to tap into that more into the syndicate, which I've worked more in week 3, and we'll talk about that next week. But this whole process of kind of trying to fill out the star map is what I understand to be a little bit of the early grind of the game. The game's main story, quote unquote, or the main quest, the MSQ, I'm going to call it, for those that are familiar with Final Fantasy. The MSQ is bringing me from junction to junction, stopping me off here and there to do a little pivotal story quest, or maybe a quick little open world action, and then bringing me back to another junction. It seems like, and I don't know, the game is just going to bring me through all the junctions to unlock the whole map, and then color it in with even more quests from there. People have told me like stuff like the Old War, or I think Second Dream, are 2 quests they particularly want me to record and talk about, which I would definitely be doing. But I think too, and on top of that, knocking out the star charts has also been a star chart. Is that the right thing to call it? Am I calling it the wrong thing? I'm probably calling it the wrong thing. Just like I'm the very best Warframer ever to have existed, right? Or you would also call it a Tenno, but whatever. But I've also really enjoyed the process of getting better at what I do, learning that, yeah, sure, you can play, like I said earlier, you can play the hell out of one specific Warframe, but maybe you just kind of want to sprinkle back into another one. Like, I'm really enjoying playing Styanax, but I also kind of miss Volt, because I liked Volt's ability to run really fast and then shoot electricity everywhere. But I like Styanax's ability to just throw shields and spears all over the place and then just chuck javelins in the air anywhere. So it's both have had really big draws for me, and I've really enjoyed that play style. And I think that's been a big thing for this week. It's just been flexing around to these different things, getting a sense for what I like and don't like. And a huge shout out here to, again, Alpha Blue 85 is the individual who sent me Styanax. We talked about it in the actual portion of it, but I just want to give him a quick shout out. As I've said so many times in the video, please don't gift me things. If you're watching the stream, some people have gifted me like color swatches. That's totally fine. Like, the cosmetic stuff is not going to hinder the grind for me. But I mean, I come from a pretty abusive MMO world. I played Ultima Online when it came out in 1998. And then I played through almost every major MMO. So I've I've done the grinding of EverQuest. I've played Dark Ages of Camelot, died and lost a whole goddamn level, so I had to go pray at a fucking gravestone and still didn't get enough experience back, and I just wanted to go to sleep. I've played Lineage 2. I've played these heavy grindy games, so I'm no stranger to a grind. But the grind in this game has, and I've said this before, The grind doesn't feel punishing, it feels encouraging. And that's what I've really enjoyed so far, especially this week of doing a lot of the same stuff over and over. And not in a bad way, but just trying to knock out these little missions, pushing my star chart forward and unlocking more locations. It's been really fun to kind of see these different biomes, to approach these different missions and learn the missions too. That's a big thing. Like spy missions and exterminate missions and the personal or self-defense ones or personal defense ones, whatever they are. Just learning all the different varieties and learning all the different biomes. It's all just been a pretty fun and enjoyable process. But now we've also done some other stuff. So another one of the big things that I did this week was the first, I'm going to call it a first story quest, even though I know it's not necessarily a story quest. But the game put it in front of me very quickly, and it's the first real big chunk of lore that I've dived into. It is the Heart of Deimos quest. And I did a whole video on me experiencing the entire thing. It's amazing. You basically get a mech, and that mech was designed apparently by a Warhammer 40,000 designer and artist. If you're new to my channel, then you don't know this, but all the veterans do know that I've been playing Warhammer for 20 plus years. It originally was a cornerstone of the channel where we covered tons of Warhammer fantasy and Warhammer 40K lore. So I'm a diehard Warhammer fan. So it immediately tickled the pickle, as it would say in France. And it was so fun. The actual lore of the situation was cool. The slow reveal of what a necromech is, the necromech, the necromancer mech is it's like basically a dreadnought. It's essentially a dreadnought. And it for those that are Warhammer fans. And it was awesome. I had a great time. You can find a link to that in the upper right hand corner where you can just go watch the entire video if you want. This is me just speeding through portions of it. But this is a little bit of a taste of things to come. Almost died. And that excites me. This whole last week, I've really played a lot of these things, and I thought to myself, damn, this game might be getting out of control in a really good way. Like everything I plug into, the next thing I plug into is just really fucking cool. I haven't played a single thing in this game and went, okay, well, I guess that's their system, huh? Like everything has been a home run. I've enjoyed understanding the mod system more this week. Jumping into clans was something I was a little hesitant to do, but I'm excited I did. And I like that we'll get to work together as a team on that, and I get to expand it, and we get to do a lot of fun stuff with that. It's the only system I'll really allow myself to have people help me on, because I've seen and heard about how much of a grind it is, especially the time requirement, right? 3 days was required to research just the very first thing in those research trees we're taking a look at. Also, focusing on Nightwave this week and trying to do that battle pass has been pretty fun and interesting, because it's okay. I wasn't using my primary weapon of launch. Well, now I've got to, because this is telling me to knock that out. So there's been a lot of interesting beats this week. A lot of beats where we have taken advantage of a lot of different things. And I think the result has been, man, this game, and people said it in the comments in the first one. And it's like when you get a puppy, people are like, the first year's hard, but you're going to love it. And you don't really know what they mean when they say that. But then you get a puppy and you're like, shit, this shit's fucking hard. When people said I'm scratching the surface of this game, I don't really know what they mean. And then I'm playing more. I'm like, I am just scratching the surface. I am just understanding the behemoth that is Warframe. And it's not scaring me away the more, the deeper I go into it. And I think that's probably, a lot of people have said, I wonder when you'll get exhausted or burnt out. And that's going to come. All games, I expected a certain level of burnout, right? Like, to think that I would play this game indefinitely is foolish. To think that you would play any game indefinitely, it would be foolish. You would naturally come and go as you see fit. And that seems what people have done in the last 10, 13, 12 years, whatever the hell, how many ever years it's been. So I'm excited for week 3. We've already started in on the first day of week 3 via stream. Make sure you are checking me out on Twitch. You can find the link below. I stream on Twitch and also restream it to YouTube, so you can see on both if you want. But Twitch does help me out personally as a content creator. So I'm excited to see what week 3 begins. I've already started to scratch the surface of a lot of the fashion frame. And that was a big draw for me in any game that I play. And if you've watched any of my Dune Awakening content, you know how carried away I can get with really that whole concept of designing and building stuff out. And that's kind of why the Dojo really like gave me a bite like immediately. I was like, ooh, I don't think I'm going to be putting this down anytime soon. So week 3 is not as dense of a video, I think, as week 1, but I think more I have started to understand systems better, and I've started to jump into more exciting things that have a lot of complexity attached to them. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching me today. Thank you for joining me in this journey. Thank you for coming around, and we've got another week planned and another one after that. And then I'll start to do a kind of 1 month or like my recap / review of the game to give people a sense of what they are getting into. And also I'll start to do some guide content as I understand systems a little bit more completely as well. But as always, thank you so much for watching here today. Have a good one and take care.